Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our presentation today about the pandemic electronic benefit transfer. Today's presentation is in conjunction with the Kentucky Department of Education, Division of School and Community Nutrition, and our partners at the Cabinet for Health and Family Services, Department for Community-Based Services. My name is Robin Kinney, and I really appreciate just a few minutes of your time this morning that I can kick this program off, and really just a thank you as people that are involved each and every day with food service for our children. I can't tell you how much the department, on behalf of the department, I appreciate your service to making sure that kids have continued to be fed, and really the hardship that could have been faced by their families in the uncertainty of the coronavirus pandemic. So a big thank you to all food service directors, all the volunteers in your communities that have helped, our bus drivers that helped with delivery in many cases, and all the other people that really pitched in to continue feeding. As I look back at what you have accomplished already in the month of March, over 4 million meals and snacks served. And then in April, that climbed up to over 11 million served. I often stop to ponder where our communities, our families, and our students would be without your hard work and efforts. So you're certainly to be commended on what's going on. As we head into what we typically call the summer months, we know in food service that feeding never really stops. And so I know you're tired. I know you've worked long and hard. And I know that many of your districts are facing decisions and making choices about how they continue to contribute to feeding for students. And so as you do that, we pledge our support and our help. We know that across the country, really, as well as the Commonwealth of Kentucky, that there continues to be a dire need for feeding to continue. I also encourage you as we look to the fall. The Department of Education is beginning, again in conjunction with the Cabinet for Health and Family Services, the Department for Public Health, rolling out guidance about reopening. I encourage you in your very important role as food service directors to stay engaged in the discussions about reopening, to make sure you are participating at your district and school level. They need your insight, they need your thoughtfulness, they need your participation as they think about what food service might look differently in the fall. We are going to reopen schools in some way, shape, or form, and your districts may choose different options on how to accomplish that. But food service will continue to be a vital, vital component of reopening our schools in the fall. And then finally, I want to make sure that I really commend the staff, which is in my office, the Division of School and Community Nutrition, on the role that they have been playing and the leadership that they have provided to school districts, families, sponsors, and really to the department as a whole. They've done outstanding work. I'm very proud of them. And I want to express to you that they continue to act as strong advocates on behalf of each of you and your districts as we continue food service for the Commonwealth. You're going to hear from some of these great leaders today, and I'm going to turn it over to Tim Cooper, who is one of those, and to jump you into the program, but I really wanted to just take an opportunity to thank you for your service. Thank you, and on to Tim.
Thank you very much, Robin. I'll just quickly introduce some other key members of our team. Again, my name is Tim Cooper. I'm the Assistant Director, and I also have Lauren Moore joining me today. She's the Director, along with Katie Embry, who will be helping to facilitate our Q&A sessions. From CHFS, our teammates in this project, we have Jason Dunn, the Director, as well as Leanne Dixon, the Supervisor. If you have any of your coworkers who would like to watch this presentation, we will be recording it and provide it next week to you that you can share with them. Okay, like I said, we really appreciate you all taking the time to join us. We want to find every way we can to support you as you work hard to help your students and their families. We'll go through this fairly quickly, but we'll stop at each section we cover to answer questions, and we'll also have a Q&A time at the end as well. We ask that you submit questions at any point in time during the presentation through the live event Q&A on your screen, and we ask that you please include your full name and district with your question so we can contact you if we're unable to answer your question today. Our goal is to answer all questions, so even if we do not answer them today, we will be answering those questions. The one thing that we do ask with questions, though, is that you wait and do not ask any very specific, unique, individual student-related questions until after the presentation and ask those via email. I'll ask Katie, who's going to be our moderator, to try and skip over any of those very specific individual student questions if they are submitted in Q&A. Okay, just real quick, just to make sure you understand where you can submit your question, you should see on your screen a very similar looking options. You enter in your name, again, your district name as well, if you could, your question, and then you'll click send. Okay, so on to why everyone is here. So what is the P-EBT program? P-EBT is a USDA financial resource provided during the pandemic for families of free and reduced students. It provides households an EBT card with funds to spend on food at home for those students. The P-EBT card has the same purchasing power as a EBT card that households may have if they participate in SNAP. So even though it provides the SNAP-like benefit, it does not include them in that public assistance program that's commonly referred to as food stamps. So which students are eligible for this program? Let me go through this very quickly first. So all students that participate in the National School Lunch Program that had access to free or reduced price meals. So that includes students that completed a household application who were approved for free or reduced lunch, students who are free based on direct certification, students who are free based on categorical eligibility, such as homeless, migrant, runaway, or federal Head Start. And this one I want to stop on and point out, and I'll do this multiple times in the presentation, all students who attend a community eligibility provision school or a CEP school are eligible. I think by default, everybody understands the first 3 points here, but I really want to point out the last bullet of all students who attend a CEP school. In Kentucky, we have over 140 full CEP districts in the state. Every student in every one of those districts is eligible. And so I understand folks may not consider themselves in need, but we really want to promote this program to all families that are eligible. Supporting your eligible families will support our state's economy. Every little bit helps right now, much like wearing a mask may not be specifically for yourself, do it for others. Okay, I'm going to spend some time right now going through a lot of examples of eligible students. I think this will be some of the primary questions you will get. This is definitely one of the primary questions we are seeing so far. And so I also want to remind you to please submit questions in Q&A at any point in time. But again, please don't send anything specific about a specific student in the Q&A. Okay, so let's look at student example number 1. Anna has submitted a household application to the school and was approved for free meals. Easy. Anna is eligible for the program. Bob, family already receives SNAP benefits. The school provides him free meals because his name is on the monthly direct certification download. Bob is eligible for the program. Cooper has been identified by your district as having the homeless designation. Your school provides him free meals because of this designation. Cooper is eligible for the program. Daniel did a household application and was approved for reduced price meals. He's also eligible. And then we have a little more complicated one. Ella lives in a household with another student who is listed on the monthly direct certification file for Medicaid. Ella receives free meals in your district because the other student was identified on the monthly direct cert download and shares the same address as Ella. Ella is eligible for the program. Okay, a couple more eligible examples. So Frank attends a school that participates in the community eligibility program. So again, any student that attends a CEP school is eligible. 140 districts are full CEP. Many others are what we call partial CEP. So They may have 5 out of their 10 of schools that are CEP. Every student in those 5 CEP schools are eligible. Okay, so now we have another example. Gavin paid full price for lunch before school closures, but now his parents have both lost their job in March. They submitted an updated household application in April, and it was approved for free lunch status. Gavin is now eligible for the program. The only difference with him is he will only receive the benefit amounts from April and May. And I will talk a little bit more about that specific situation later on in the presentation. Okay, now the other unfortunate side, which students are not eligible for this program. Let's take Hannah as an example. Hannah does not have a benefit status of free or reduced. When Hannah buys breakfast or lunch at school, she pays the full student price. Hannah is not eligible for this program. Example number 9, this is one we've seen quite a few times, unfortunately. Ivan is a preschool student served via the Child and Adult Care Food Program. Ivan is not eligible because he is not being served in the National School Lunch Program. Even though both programs are USDA food programs, P-EBT is specifically for the National School Lunch Program. And so there are situations where a school district may have a preschool that is served by CACFP. Those children are not eligible for this program. If they have preschool that is served by an SLP, then those children are served by this benefit. Okay, last example here. Jenny qualifies for free lunch with a household income form, commonly referred to as HIF, and those are the forms that are filled out for state funding at CEP schools, which tells you that they are not part of the federal funding USDA form. And so there are 2 districts, Fort Thomas Independent and Beechwood, that do not participate in the National School Lunch Program. Therefore, any of those students are not eligible to participate. And so there are likely more unique examples that I did not include here. But we ask that you please send those to us in email, and we will definitely answer every example that you have. Okay, I'm gonna take a pause here, and just to remind you of a few things. And I apologize for saying some of these things repeatedly, but all students who attend a school that participates in CEP are eligible. All students who had access to free reduced lunch through NSLP are also eligible. So let's take a break here and check with Katie if any questions have come in so far.
Right now, we don't have any questions.
Okay, I'll give it just a second or 2 more and then we'll move on. Okay, so now we'll look at the amount. How much will each student receive? Each eligible student will receive up to $313.50 on the EBT card. A couple notes about the card. It is good for 1 year. The card cannot be split or transferred. Households with multiple eligible students will receive 1 card typically with the full amount for all students. So again, this amount is per student. So a 2-student household will receive $627. A 3-student household will receive $940.50, and on as you have additional students who are eligible in the household. If any student that only first became eligible after March, they will only receive the benefit amount for the month beginning for when they became eligible. If you recall back to the example I gave earlier, I don't recall the name, but the student family had both lost their jobs. They only became eligible beginning in April. So that student would get the April and May benefit amounts, and I'll show you what those amounts are here shortly. The one thing I did want to point out that any family decisions for students in split households where parents are divorced must occur prior to the application process that I will explain shortly. The first parent to apply for a student will receive the benefit without any means to request a change. So if a divorced family has 1 child, then they will have to make that determination of which receives the benefit before they apply. If they have 2 children, they could simply apply separately. One household could apply for one child, the other household could apply for the other. But I did want to point out that those decisions must be made up front, and there will not be a process in place to request a change. Okay, how was the amount calculated? So the formula that we were required to use by the USDA is the number of days missed times the rate of reimbursement for a single day. So that calculates to be $5.70 for Kentucky. The number of days was 55, and we used a state average for the number of days students were not physically in school buildings based on the governor's closure recommendations. And for the rate, we used the maximum reimbursement a school would have received for a student at their free rate on a single day for breakfast and lunch combined. So some of you may be looking at this and think, that's not the rate that I get, and that's definitely not the number of days that we were out. I think we all know that Harrison County was the first district affected. They were out longer, and others made the decision in a staggered format where they were in school for more days. So we understand that the federal government allowed us the opportunity to maximize the rate, and so that's exactly what we did, by gosh. So the rate you see is the severe need breakfast rate and the severe need lunch rate combined. And again, the number of days was used as an average across the state. Okay, the picture you see with the smiling apple is what the card will look like for those that do not already have an EBT card. And so what can that card buy when they receive it? Fruits, vegetables, meat, poultry, fish. I won't read the whole list to you there, but basically food, non-alcoholic beverages, seeds and plants, they all can be purchased with the P-EBT card. Okay, so what can the money not be used to buy? Beer, wine, liquor, cigarettes, or tobacco, no surprises there. Vitamins, medicines. I did want to point out a few things without reading all these to you was the hot foods and prepared foods fit for immediate consumption. Those might be the only potentially surprising items to you in the list of what the money cannot buy. I'll leave that slide up for a second and let everybody review that. Okay, just a reminder, every single student will get up to $313.50 on the card. So I'll take a quick pause here for any specific card amount or card use questions, if there are any this time, Katie.
We do have 2 questions in there for eligibility. The first one is can you go back and reiterate if Head Starts students are eligible for this program?
Okay, so the primary consideration is, are the students offered National School Lunch Program by the school district? If the answer is yes, then they are eligible. In Kentucky, Head Starts operate both within the school district and outside. So the ones who actually operate outside the school district who are served by CACFP are not eligible. If a student attends a public school district and are enrolled, they are eligible if they are fed under the National School Lunch Program.
A follow-up question with that is, can you address preschool morning students only who do have access to the school breakfast program? Are they eligible?
Yes, they have been included in our list of eligible students as breakfast is within the National School Lunch Program as far as we're concerned for this program. And so I will reiterate, though, that if those preschool students were not enrolled in Infinite Campus, and I believe this may be the case at times in the minority situations, then they would not be included as they were not listed in our list of eligible students. So if they were enrolled and they have access with free and reduced, then they are eligible. It gets a little complicated, so some of these things I understand, feel free to email us outside this presentation and we can look at specific examples you have for those preschool students.
That's all the questions for right now.
Okay. All right, so now let's look at all eligible students and break them into different categories of participation, okay? So we have two components of what we have referred to as Group 1. We have Group 1A. These are the students who will participate automatically from their SNAP benefits. And then we have 1B, where they will participate automatically from other CHFS direct certification income eligible program benefits. The second group is those folks who will apply. They will have an elective participation where they will opt in to receive a P-EBT card. Okay, first, let's go into some more details of the Group 1A. These are the automatic participation students from their SNAP benefits. So currently enrolled students who are already receiving SNAP benefits with an active case on an active EBT card will automatically receive the additional funds for P-EBT added on to their existing card. The guardian or parent does not need to take any actions. It is done for them. And the first recipients, I believe, started receiving their money 2 days ago. And additional participants received money yesterday, and so that will continue. Now, for the Group 1B, these folks also are automatically enrolled in the program, but there's some slight differences here. So automatic participation from other CHFS income eligible programs include Medicaid, KTAP, foster care. I want to make a point of clarification here for Medicaid. If someone tells you, hey, I'm on Medicaid, I should get this automatically, the majority of the time that is the case. However, with Kentucky having expanded Medicaid eligibility, there are some folks who qualify for Medicaid in Kentucky who do not meet the federal income requirements. Okay, but I think the rest of it's fairly clear. So if they're on the download file that the district receives monthly, then they will automatically get the benefit. For these folks, a card has been mailed to them because they do not have an EBT card currently. But again, this Group 1, both 1A and 1B, requires no action from the family to receive the benefit. So an EBT card is in the mail for this Group 1B participants. Okay, so now we're going to look at the Group 2, the elective participation, the folks who will opt in to receive a P-EBT card. So these are students that do not qualify based on automatic participation, or the folks that they're not sure. If they're like, I should have gotten this in the mail, but I haven't, then they can also go and apply, and the system will notify them if they've already been selected to receive the benefit. Okay, so to opt in to Group 2, there will be a simple online application that families will have to complete. Okay, so please note that this application is not an income-based application. It is an application to opt in to the program. No income information is provided. The system is simply confirming that the student entered is indeed eligible for free or reduced lunch meals based on the list that we, KDE, provided to the Cabinet for Health and Family Services. Okay, the application is going to be opening on June 1st and will remain open for 30 days. The application will appear on benefind.ky.gov, and it will be very obvious of where they need to click to start their P-EBT application. As folks hear about this program, they have tried to apply early, but unfortunately will not be available until June 1st. Okay, so who are these students in Group 2 who will have to opt in to receive the benefit? So we have provided to CHFS all the students at enrolled schools who are free and reduced lunch kits. Okay, so let's look at the types of approval scenarios that will happen as a family goes in and completes their opt-in application. So once a household applies and an exact match of all information is confirmed by the CHFS system, Benefind, then the application is automatically approved. The other scenario is once a household applies and a partial match is determined, then the application information is sent to KDE for review and final determination. Okay, and I'm going to go into details of the application in just a second, but I just want to point out that the information needed is the SSID, the first name, the last name, and the date of birth. Okay, it is vital that the correct SSID is used to apply. Without utilizing the correct SSID, the application will not proceed. It's also very important that the name and date of birth as listed in the student's enrollment record is utilized to expedite the benefit and to eliminate the need for review and determination by KDE. Okay, so this is where the families need you. The district must help Group 2 eligible students. The SSID, again, is required for the application. You will need to assist your families with obtaining their SSID. Each district should identify their own communication plan for providing SSIDs to their households. Okay. We've seen multiple ideas so far to date, including districts providing instructions with SSIDs with their report cards that are being mailed out. We've also seen direct individual emails sent to parents specifically about the program that include the student's information needed to apply. Okay, I'm going to take a pause here and point out again, the families need you to help them with information. Okay, we believe it will be easier to support your families if you fully understand the application process. Again, this is not your responsibility to complete the application for them, but we do think it'd be easier as you might get questions from your families. Okay, so again, prior to applying, they will need to have their student's name, first and last, the address in which the card will be mailed to, the date of birth, and their SSID number. Entering all that correctly will again expedite the benefit to them and provide the financial resource as quickly as possible. So beginning June 1st, they will visit the Benefine website. They'll select to apply for P-EBT benefits, and they'll complete the application. The application, again, is not the normal EBT application. It will be listed in a totally separate box with a separate button on the Benefine website. We've had questions from families so far trying to apply, and they are trying to apply through the normal SNAP process. Again, P-EBT will be a separate, very simple process. Okay, I'll give you a couple screenshots of the application to show you how simple it actually is for the families. They will have to begin by certifying they agree and understand the rules and attest that they are the parents or acting legal guardian of the students. So you'll note there, the SSID field is a required field. Districts will need to ensure households have that information to apply. The little hover over here for the SSID will basically explain that to them, that they may need to contact their district for that number if they do not have it. Okay, so here's the second part of the application screen. Simply an address. It's important to know that P-EBT benefits cannot be forwarded, so the address has to be current with the Postal Service to ensure receipt of the card. Let me go back a screen and maybe point out a couple things that I forgot. One is Social Security number is requested, but is not required. They do not have to have a Social Security number to receive this benefit. And that is the same for the student as well. Head of household and student. There will only be one head of household that we mailed the card, but there can be multiple students added in the one household application by simply clicking Add Student, in which they'll repeat this information for their next student. Okay, so once they go through and complete the application and submit, they will be given a status immediately. Okay, the first screen you see here is an approved status. So you will see that the household that completed the application for John and Jimmy had all the information they needed and were automatically approved because it was confirmed that they did indeed have access to free and reduced price lunch, and they had all of their demographic information exactly correct. Okay, next screen you'll see these two folks were denied for already receiving P-EBT. So scenarios in which this could happen. This may be a Group 1 child who automatically received the benefit on the SNAP card. It could be a Group 1 child who's on Medicaid who has already been mailed a card. Maybe they haven't received it in the mail yet, but they have been provided the benefit. This could be a divorced household where one parent has already applied and received the benefit, and the second parent comes to apply, they will receive this message as well. Okay, so here's an example of the denial that will occur for the students that do not enter, or the families that do not enter a correct SSID on the application. Okay, so if families do not enter the correct SSID, for example, there are 4 districts in the state who utilize a local ID that is not the same as the statewide ID. If they somehow try to enter in that ID, the system will deny them for having the incorrect SSID. The good news is they can actually go back and reapply as many times as they want in order to get the correct SSID entered into the application. But again, as they complete their application, it will give them a real-time status once they complete it of their approval or denial. Okay, the last potential status is pending review. And so these are the households who have submitted an application where they may have gotten the SSID correct, they had to hit that correct, but they may have mistyped the date of birth, the first name, or the last name. Let me just give you an example of where that may have occurred. So if a household applies for a benefit for Tim Cooper and enters the correct SSID for Tim Cooper, but Tim Cooper is actually known in Infinite Campus enrollment as Timothy Cooper. So at that point in time, they will not be able to get the automatic approval. These will come to KDE on a daily basis in which we will review and manually approve those. At which point in time, the next day after we complete that review, they will be approved for the card. I also wanted to point out that households with multiple students, each student will be given their own status, and they could all be different. So if I have a household of 3, I could get denied, I could get approved, and I could get a pending review. Each individual student will be given a status. Okay, I'm gonna take a quick break here for application questions. And just remember, the families need you. They need their SSID for the application on Benefund.
We do have several questions.
Okay.
The first one speaks to confidentiality. Are districts allowed to share their direct certification list with others to get assistance in finding students with missing SSIDs for SNAP families that did not receive money for all their children?
No, the direct certification list should not be shared with others. What they can do is provide the SSID benefit, the SSID number to those families, and they can apply as part of Group 2. And so if there's any point in time that the direct cert children were not matched as part of the monthly process, they are still eligible, and we did include those students from Infinite Campus in the Group 2 application list of eligible students. So they can just simply go and apply starting June 1st.
Next, will all CEP students get the full amount of $313.50?
The answer is yes. The only time they would not get the full amount is if they only became eligible after moving into a CEP school after March. Those situations will be very rare, but that is the only time a CEP student would not get the full benefit.
With Group 1, do districts need to be responsible for providing the SSID number to parents for Group 1 only?
They do not. So we have taken care of that for the families. with the rationale being that these families have already signed up for a benefit in Kentucky, whether it's SNAP, Medicaid. We treated that as their opt-in process, and so all of those children in the state that we were able to match to a current enrollment have already been given the benefit. Those families do not need to have their SSID. So if they do send out those SSIDs and the family does go and apply, they will see that application status there denied for already receiving P-EBT.
For Group 2 students, does the address have to match the address on file with the school district that they enter into the Benefund application?
No, it does not. The address is just simply the family telling us what their current address is. And due to the address data in Infinite Campus not being always kept up to date, we were not able to use that data to automatically send out cards to everyone. Other states elected to do that, and unfortunately, due to data quality, have a lot of concerns and issues that we are not going to have here in Kentucky.
Is this a one-time payment or is it monthly?
This is a one-time payment in which all of the amount will be included on the card when they receive it.
What should the communication plan include? On the school website, school message board, is the plan sufficient?
And I tell you what, let's just use that to jump into the last section of the presentation where we talk about that. So the school's responsibilities, there are two major ones to ensure that P-EBT is possible for their eligible families. Number one and foremost, communication and outreach about the program. They have to know the benefit exists in order to try to apply for it. The second one I've repeated is provide their SSIDs. So as far as the communication plan, we leave it up to schools. We know that it's been on ANDA 5, it's been on our website, it's been on multiple methods of communication around the state, but the schools can provide their own communication plan for their families. One thing we did do is we created a P-EBT flyer that's available on our KDE P-EBT webpage that basically explains the program and provides the districts the ability to customize the flyer, sorry, and put in their locally defined information for how to get their SSID. And let me jump to that flyer here, you'll see it. And so again, this is a resource they can use. And back to the question that Katie had was, I would say the website is good. I would say potentially some districts have used one call, some have used emails. We literally think that the options are endless, but the schools know how to best communicate with their families. And so what you'll see on the screen there now is the actual flyer that can be used, and the arrow pointing to the locate statewide student ID box. That box is able to be typed in and customized where the district can put in their information. And so once they do that, they can share this flyer in any means they think is best for their local families. So again, this will give them very basic overview of what P-EBT is. It tells them who's eligible. It tells them how they can be eligible as far as the automatic or elective participation. It tells them the amount. And then as you put in your directions, it will tell them how to get their SSID.
We have several. Do you want to go ahead and do questions?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do questions, please.
Okay, we have several. If one student was approved and another student in the same family is pending, does the card get mailed with just the approved student, or does the benefit get held up until the second student is approved?
The card will be mailed as soon as a student is approved. And once the student who is pending review is approved, the additional funds will appear on the card. There will not be a separate card mailed.
Are districts aware of Group 1 students that are already receiving the benefit? Is there, this individual is concerned that including P-EBT sign-up info for all students would be confusing to those in Group 1?
And I think we'll leave it up to the districts, but I would recommend that they communicate to all students, because there is potential that a student who automatically receives SNAP may not have automatically received the card, right? So there's some data discrepancies that happen where that may have been the case. So I would recommend that they communicate to all students, And if the family simply applies and they've already been given the benefit, they'll be told so by the benefit system. So I would not recommend targeting communication to the students. I would recommend making that communication district-wide.
How do we handle if family members do not have internet access to apply?
Unfortunately, with the short time frame of this program offered by USDA is we don't have a paper-based option. It suggests that they potentially work with their neighbors, potentially utilize their phone. This is a web-based application they could use. There's a number of local possibilities in which they could use. If the districts could potentially assist the families as well.
If a family member calls the Board of Education asking for an SSID, are there any rules preventing that information to be shared for confidentiality reasons?
No, not for this program. I would just confirm that the family member is indeed part of that student's household and is a legal guardian for that child.
If a family enters the information in the application incorrectly, may they complete the application again?
Yes, a application can be completed as many number of times as it takes to get it correct.
If a head of household wants the district to help them fill out the application online, can the school district assist them in doing that?
They can assist, but the actual household will need to complete it. By assist, I would only say they would have to help with the network connection, as the household does have to confirm and attest as part of the certification process for the household that they are indeed legal guardians and do have the right to receive that benefit. So if the district completes it for them, that would not be the case. So a family must complete the application.
The last question for right now, are there any concerns about duplication? If a district is participating in feeding already through SSO or SFSP or the Meals to You program, can they still participate in P-EBT?
Yes, so this program is in addition to any other program in which they are participating. And that includes whether it's summer feeding, whether they were involved in seamless summer feeding, as well as the Baylor Meals to You project. So this is in addition to any other feeding program that they participate in.
Also, is there a timeline for the Group 1 enrolled students to receive benefits? Is there a date that if they haven't received benefits that they need to ask for help or complete an application?
The Medicaid and KTAP folks are being processed, and so depending on the USPS mail, it could take 1 to 2 weeks. What I would say, if they're unsure, to simply complete an application, and the system will notify them of if they've already been sent the card or not.
And that's all of the questions for right now.
Okay. I will just ask that everyone who is watching this broadcast to please review the combined P-EBT facts from KDE and CHFS. The combined document is available on both CHFS and KDE P-EBT web pages. We want to focus our time and resources and attention on providing this benefit to the most families we possibly can in this short critical time period. So reviewing the facts before asking some questions will help us do that. Again, I want to thank everyone for joining today. I will ask Katie one more time if you have any additional questions coming in.
We do have one additional question. Is there a way for the district to receive a list of the students in Group 2 who opted in?
No, at this time we do not. That is a family decision, and that will be processed from CHFS. So there is not going to be a file shared with the districts of which of their students opted in.
No further questions.
Great. Thank you all very much for your great questions. We appreciate it. We are here to help you, help your families. So please reach out to us if you have any questions at any point in time. And we hope you have a happy Friday and a great weekend. Thanks for joining us.